so funny that this is like a character like in a fighting game. Well, to be fair, right, to be fair, there are other characters that have made it into fighting game series' rosters that are really like, you know, just a what the fuck out there. The first one being like the one that I think of, fucking Negan. This was all the way back in like Tekken 7. This character like dropped, much to like the surprise of everyone. I think this was what day was this? Right, this was Tekken World Tour 2018. Tekken World Tour 2018. Damn, that was like 7 fucking years ago, or 6. Negan was like the wildest, was like second to, if not like one of the most wildest choices for like a fighting game roster ever. Here comes this guy that made his one meme debut in The Walking Dead, became so infamous for that. Jeffrey Dean Morgan did like an absolute fucking job with this like character. Just this guy with a bat, and he's whooping ass on the Tekken roster, right? That shit is so fucking weird, but it was so funny to like to see, you know? There are other characters besides like Negan that are exceptionally like, you know, more wilder than like, you know, the last, right? The first one that like comes to mind is like Super Smash Brothers. Let's take a look at like Super Smash Brothers, right? There have been some exceptional fucking characters that are in Super Smash Brothers to like a crazy bit, right? Smash Brothers being like, you know, the easiest one, the Scum Answer. This one, for example, fucking Metal Gear Solid fucking Snake. The most infamous, you know, man to ever grace us in like video game like presence. Bro, this bitch is in like a fighting game? That is amazing. Jaws were like dropped because everybody loves Metal Gear, you know? But this man was so famous, and this was like before like Konami had their like, you know, their falling out. And yeah, Snake joins the brawl, Sonic joins the brawl. This was Super Smash Brothers for 3D. For 3DS. Mega Man was also really cool. Pac-Man, oh yeah, that's right, Pac-Man was in it. Yeah, Pac-Man being like, you know, a character, fits for Smash Brothers, right? And of course, right, the game during Super Smash Brothers Wii U or Smash 4. Yeah, this was like published. This was like or not published, right? Although it was published by Nintendo, developed by Bandai Namco. And you know who was at like Bandai Namco? Like fucking Harada. So he helped with like, you know, some of the tech with Super Smash Brothers. Then we had like Ryu being like in Smash Brothers, right? That's like technically like the second Capcom character in Smash Brothers at the time of Smash 4, right? Our classic like Capcom fighting game main protagonist, right? He's like the icon of fighting games. He's the one that like started, well, Street Fighter the game started it all, but this is like the character that's like known for fighting, right? Then we have fucking Cloud. While Ryu was like, you know, the main man for fighting games, everything, Cloud was like the main man for RPGs, everything, you know? Like all because of like Final Fantasy VII, right? He is like the guy. And of course, that's like up to perception because, you know, not everybody likes Final Fantasy VII, but you know, it's like the one game that really was like exceptional, right? Scored like a lot of like highs, right, when it came out. Revolutionary, a lot of like thematics. It's just like an objective fact, you know? Of course, there's like, you know, personal takes here and there, right? But if you want like a video game like Smithsonian type of like, you know, answer for like Cloud, right? Cloud is like the guy for JRPGs. But Bayonetta being in there, right? That's really like crazy, you know? Bayonetta 2, yeah, on the Wii U, right? She was definitely popping up, and this was like prime like Platinum Games. everything that Platinum Games was like doing, it was like really cool. They didn't get like the fallout or their members like leaving after, what was it, like Astral Chain, or maybe, you know, as we started seeing like the fallout. But everybody loved Bayonetta. Only like, this is only from like a gameplay standpoint. People hated this bitch. Sorry, Bayo, but yeah, you did like crazy combos for like no reason, and people hated your guts for it. They had to emergency ban your ass. Other crazy characters are like, what was it? At this point, it's like Smash Brothers was definitely like collecting like IPs courtesy of Masahiro Sakurai. So it's not as wild, but it was just like, yeah, we were kind of like expecting it at this point. Maybe at like Sprawl, or maybe like at Smash 4. Now we start like looking at the what was it, view lens of Smash Brothers, that yeah, anybody can be like, you know, in, right, as long as y'all like request it. And so Nintendo and Sakurai were out on like on a mission to collect, you know, every like major IP there is, and like bring them over into Smash Brothers. But it's, who else can you add at this point? K-Rool from Donkey Kong, Isabelle, Joker for Persona, another like JRPG character, although he is like a new blood. Cloud is like old man, but then this was the third, Banjo-Kazooie. And then we had Terry, right? Terry in Smash Brothers. I personally like this trailer because it's like, yeah, it's SNK. And at the time, nobody knew what SNK was. This one was the wildest one, I feel like. Yeah, this one was the wildest one. Fucking Steve from the kid game Minecraft. I'm like, oh, cheese and rice. I like agonize over this. I'm like, what the fuck? They added this like this pixelated mess in Smash Brothers? I'm like, oh hell no. As well as like Sephiroth. This long-haired bitch that's creating like a meteor and cause like eternal extinction to the planet. Like, bro. This was like the second time that Square Enix added like a character, or technically third, but this is the second time a Final Fantasy VII character was added. And this was like, you know, after Cloud, he only came with like 2 songs in the stage. Sephiroth came with a secondary new stage and just dropped like an entire FF7 soundtrack. Ira Mishra was like, okay, alright. Xenoblade games were like selling, everybody was like getting into them, and especially like the new one, Xenoblade 2? The waifu as fuck game? Yeah, it was like, okay. Kazuya? Well, Kazuya was like, not wild, but it was fitting the mold. Yeah, it was like, okay, we have Ryu, Ken, we have Terry, we have, who else do we have as like a fighting game rep? There was no Soul Calibur characters. I wish there were, but yeah, we get something for like the big 3 fighting games. Like we get Bandai Namco, and it was the not main protagonist Kazuya Mishima. This was like not as wild, but it was rather fitting. Yeah, this one, right? Finally, like dreams have been answered type shit. This was like the most wild and the most tear-jerking one. Fucking Sora in Smash Brothers. Fucking Sora. I think you can't get that one is equally as wild as Minecraft, bro. Like, this bitch is like, you know, the most requested character in Smash Brothers. I think he was the most requested character. The most nostalgic like game series to ever grace us in video games. It was difficult but not impossible sort of shit. By the time of like Ultimate, this was like, you know, video game museum. Let's just add everybody in there as much as we can outside of like Mugen. This is an officially sponsored Mugen. Masahiro Sakurai had to like, you know, pull like his own fucking teeth with Square Enix to like, yeah man, Sora is in the game. Holy shit, bro. But yeah man, Kingdom Hearts was definitely like wild, right? It was, yeah, like as Smash Brothers like progressed on and we start to like see like characters like Steve and Snake and Sonic and Cloud and Ryu and Sora. Things were definitely like, you know, wild. Other like wild like characters that we can like think of. Oh, right. Let's go with like Soul Calibur, right? Yeah, Link was in the game. Link was in Soul Calibur. Habibi! Yo, what's up, Jerry? Link was a pretty wild fucking guest character, right? And he was only in the GameCube version, homies. That was like the only like only instance of like, yeah, outside of like Smash Brothers. Hey, why don't we have like a Nintendo character in like a non like Nintendo game? And if it weren't for like Link, or because of like Link, Soul Calibur 2 like was a goddamn like money train, bro. This was like the most like revered Soul Calibur, you know? Controls were smooth, right? There was no like, you know, mechanics of critical edge like supers or soul edge soul attacks. This was just native Soul Calibur, deep to its roots. Link was like, you know, a crazy fucking character. Not like, you know, in terms of like gameplay, but just like the level of, he is like, you know, one of the mascots of Nintendo. And Soul Calibur 2 had like other characters, right? Specifically in other ports of Soul Calibur. Heihachi was not as wild as Link, though. To be honest with y'all, Heihachi was not really like that crazy. Because yeah, right? If you look at like the company, right? It's Bandai Namco, or it was like the the smaller studio under Bandai Namco, which was Project Soul. They were like in charge of the Soul Calibur games, right? Until like I think Soul Calibur 6, or sorry, Soul Calibur 5. Then they like merged with like Bandai Namco or something like that. Very understandably so. Fighting games for fighting games. And like, yeah, like Spawn, right? Like, Soul Calibur, oof, man. This is pretty wild in and of itself, right? There's like no like argument to be had for Soul Calibur 4 having like Star Wars characters in the game. Well, I mean, Yoda's a whole like bag of worms in this game because he is a small fucking character. So how the fuck do you hit him? Star Wars characters was definitely on like the levels of like, wow. This game like came out like when? 2008. I had a feeling. In 2008, bro, what the fuck, man? And we have like Yoda, Darth Vader, like very out of pocket fucking characters that are in like a game all about like metal swords and shit. Oh, these characters got like lightsabers. They melt the swords. Whatever. It's a fighting game. Just add whatever the fuck you want. Soul Calibur having like these guys in was definitely like, yeah, very high peak levels of like, yeah, wild. We've hit like the big leagues of like, you know, name representation. 360p asses, man. Star-Lord was exclusively like, you know, a promotional thing. That's why like they added there. Maybe that's like the reason why Star Wars was there in the first place. So it could promote this bitch. Yeah, this was not as crazy, but I thought it was personally good. The man from, or like the mascot of the most not critically acclaimed, but the most well-beloved character in the series. I can't play the music because otherwise that would get me copyright, but yeah, like Ezio Auditore, man. Yeah, it wasn't crazy. It wasn't crazy, right? But it was cool in its own right, you know? This is not like the levels of like, like a fictional character from a movie or a TV series making it into a game. No, this is like, you know, a video game. Like, this is like 2008-ish, 2006-ish character on like the PS3. So it wasn't that like insane, but it was still like cool nonetheless. It was still cool to have like Ezio Auditore in there. Which, by the way, can we talk about how Soul Calibur 4 and 5 still look good? Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, Soul Calibur 5, like... shit, man, still looks good. Oh, right. Geralt of Rivia. Although, like, Geralt of Rivia was like... okay, a specific, like, subsect of, like, you know, RPGs, like Western RPGs. You know? And... there are like a ton out there. Yeah, Geralt is like, I mostly like remember Geralt from like, you know, like just scrolling on YouTube, like looking at like the love scenes on YouTube for, what was it, The Witcher? Soul Calibur is known for their like crazy like guest characters. Like, we had like Soul Calibur 2 was like Link. We had Soul Calibur 3, although we had like Cosmos and it was like a costume choice. We had Soul Calibur 4, we had Star Wars, but I don't know about like Jerry of the River. I don't know about Jerry of the River though. That's why I'm calling him Jerry of the River. Jerry of the River was, you know, an interesting choice. Then there was another character that got added but got a positive reception, and that was this girl. Oh, this is wife right here. Yeah, 2B. 2B from Nier Automata in Soul Calibur, bro. Like, yeah, this was at the time when Nier Automata, a game that like kind of like shadow dropped. It was like on some people's like radar, but like, yo, Nier Automata got like relatively like good reviews. It was Square Enix. It was also like Platinum Games. It was, you know, cool, like, you know, waifu like booty character, you know, shit like that. This character was like the first wave of people like jumping on into like to the Nier Automata madness. That 2B just became everywhere, dog. 2B was in a gacha game, 2B is in Soul Calibur, 2B is in Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising. 2B was like everywhere, dude. Can you blame them? Yeah, man. I can't blame them. Her ass, like me and James talked about this. Me and James, my other mod, her ass sells units. Like if you want a character that like, yeah, like look, man, like fucking this is like her, right where my hand is. Right up to like her cooch. Right? She was like everywhere, dog. She was everywhere. Although, like, you know, yeah, very new. So it's not like, you know, like old school, right? Like old school, like, you know, Link in Soul Calibur 2. But, dude, because of Nier Automata 2 and how well that performed in, what should I say? Not box office, but in like opening week, people loved this character. People loved the universe of the Nier series. Or especially like Automata, that people wanted her in. Crazy wild like characters. Yeah, Lars Alexanderson was in a Naruto game. That's right. He was only available in Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. I can't believe I forgot about that. I looked at the side and like looked at my Naruto Storm games and like, oh yeah. Naruto did have like a crazy character, and it was Lars Alexanderson, and they like Naruto'd up Lars from Tekken. Yeah, it was very much a wild like character too, right? It's an anime game, right? Anime arena fighter, but you know, Naruto Storm series are like the goat of anime arena fighters, right? So this is like, you know, an exception. But still though, right? This character made it in, and like he moves and plays like, you know, how he would do in like in Tekken, bro. Like shit, man, is crazy. Yeah, also, right, we gotta go back to like Tekken because Tekken 7 also had like some wild characters. We are going all the way back at the beginning. Fucking this character, that's right. This is the character that got me into Tekken, boys. That got me to seriously play Tekken. Noctis Lucis Kylum. Character with swords, right? Like, what the fuck? Like, what is this character doing in a fighting game all about like martial arts and shit? Well, technically martial arts, because Tekken has its own like juggle system in here and there, right? Harada, like, you know, they pull like Negan, right? But that was like season, I think that was like season 3, something like that. But this one was like season 1. This was like the start where, like, you know, if Harada like likes something, or if like the team at Tekken likes like a character and they want to like put them in, yeah, they'll just put them in regardless of like regardless of like fan opinions. Noctis Lucis Kylum was, you know, like, in my personal opinion, my favorite character in Tekken. I love playing this bitch. I love, you know, making people mad with Noctis, bro. I wasn't like the best character with Tekken. I just like abused some tools with Noctis, right? That was like, you know, my game plan. Cause it's like, yeah, he has like a sword, he has like a spear, he has like, you know, a big ass like a great sword, he has like a shield, man. Like, this dude is like doing magic. Like, bro, this was like my character. He was like definitely one of the more easier characters in Tekken. I did not know what a fucking like EWGF was. I did not know any of these characters in like Tekken, but like I remember liking FF15, so I was like, ooh, Noctis is in it? Can I try him out? Yo, he looks really dope, and he plays dope. Much to the chagrin of like Tekken fans or just general fans, right? I love playing as Noctis. And you know what? And you know what though? Harada doubled down. One of the more recent controversial characters in Tekken, Clive Rossfield. Oh boy, let me tell you, the recent, like, you know, upset of social media storm that is with Clive Rossfield, bro. I was there, you know, me and the chat were like there, right? Clive Rossfield was making it into Tekken. I kind of knew that Clive Rossfield was going to be making it into Tekken, because, you know, right, like, hey, if Noctis made it into the game, surely they could do the same like formula they did with Clive for new Final Fantasy character, and they did, and they doubled down on it. And of course, right, Final Fantasy 16 was a dope fucking game by itself as well, made by the guys that did Devil May Cry. But it was so cool to me, like, it was cool to see like Clive in like Tekken, and he was like also one of the most like wild characters like in the game. Just to like get like dude that does like, you know, sword attacks and summons a dog. I mean, yeah, that's bullshit though. Let's be real there, that's bullshit. He's not that bad though. From the tournaments that we have been so far seeing of like Clive, yeah, he's not that bad. A lot of people really wanted Tifa to be in the game. A lot of people really wanted Tifa to be in the game, but they have like a strong passion for Tifa. Like, get like a wife character in there. I don't want a guy. You know, like, shit, man. Scream at the top of your lungs. Like, don't be like too, you know, idiotic about it. Yeah, but like Harada doubled down on like, you know, the wild, the like the bad wild side of it. Like, yeah, Noctis was in the game, so let's double down and get like Clive Rossfield in the game, because, you know, new Final Fantasy character, and he was in the works before Tekken 8 even came out. Tekken 8 Clive was pretty fucking wild altogether, bro. Marvel vs. Capcom definitely got like what was it, some wild characters all the way back at Akuma was a hidden secret character in the very first Capcom assist-based fighters, right? X-Men Children of the Atom. This is like, in a way, yeah, this was also like wild like guests crossing over from like 2 game series, right? Like, you had characters like Street Fighter with Ryu, Chun, and Zangief. And then you had like oddball characters like Strider and Captain Commando and Jin Saotome. You even had secret characters like Roll and stuff. And then you had like Marvel characters with Spider-Man and Venom, and the X-Men went with Gambit, Wolverine, and Avengers characters with like Hulk and Captain America. Before like the crazy stuff in Brawl with Smash Brothers, this was like one of the guest character fighting games in the market. Yeah, just like really cool, really stylish, really awesome. One of the peak fighting games made by like Capcom for, you know, a lot of other reasons other than just like, you know, gameplay, but just aesthetics, art style, characters, right, vibes, feel. Yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom definitely like, you know, had it all. I guess there were also like some other ones. Oh yeah, right? Yeah, this fucking game. Anybody remembers this game, Chad? The 2D anime like fighting game where you had not just like BlazBlue characters, but also you also had Persona characters from Atlas. But the thing that got like a lot of people for like BlazBlue was fucking Ruby. Yeah, Ruby Rose, or like, you know, the Western anime by Rooster Teeth. People were fucking astonished that like, yo, Ruby characters are gonna be in it. I don't know jack shit about like Ruby. I don't know jack shit, but I remember back in high school, this anime, this quote-unquote anime was like the talk of the town. Was like the talk of the town, like everywhere. I remember back in like high school. Yeah, I forgot. It was wild to have like Ruby characters like in the game. What's this like one game? Guys? Yeah, that was it. Guys, God bless the ring. I don't know what the fuck this is. Cloud getting fucking, what was it? Batista bombed over here. Yeah, see, there's our baby girl. There's baby girl right there. There's a lot of like wild fucking characters. Not just like Ronaldo, right? It has been known in fighting game history that there are definitely a lot more fucking characters in this game. Sorry, not in this game, but in general, right? This is like, yeah, we've known about this shit. This is like nothing new, no new information has been thrown on us, anything crazy. It's just wild, like, you know, first moment reactionary like thoughts that like, yeah, Ronaldo is in Fatal Fury. Yeah, we just have to accept that. For the better.
What's that? What's that, brother?